It is first thing in the morning here, and we are doing a few things today. We are, first of all, starting seeds for the fall 2020 season. We are announcing the winners of our giveaway, all right, our seed giveaway, and I'm giving you some of my best seed starting tips and tricks. Let's go. Hey guys, welcome back to Mini Urban Farm, a channel about gardening and homesteading in the suburbs. My name is Veronica, and on this channel I teach people how to grow food in their backyard, in small spaces, in suburbia, all of that. So if that sounds good, don't forget to subscribe. Today we are announcing the winner of our seed giveaway, alright? So on my last video, on my What I'm Growing video, I shared with you all of the seeds I'm growing, and today I'm announcing what you guys are, well, what that one person is winning that entered the giveaway, and then we will be starting our seeds. I have my entire seed starting setup right here behind me, and then I'm also going to share with you some tips and tricks, some things I always do when starting seeds that gives me really good germination rates, so stick around for that at the end of the video. Now let me share with you guys what you're actually winning. Alright, it was a surprise, but the first thing that is in the seed giveaway is purple dragon carrots from Baker Creek. In fact, all of them are from Baker Creek because this is one of my favorite seed companies. So the purple carrots, Detroit dark red, which I love. Alright, these are amazing as well. We have Blue Lake bush beans, which you guys, if you stick around my channel, you know I love these beans. This and the jade bush bean are things I always grow. They grow super well, and I would definitely recommend them to anybody who wants to grow bush beans. And then we have the Rise and Trap tomato, which if you were watching my last video, I mentioned I'm not growing this season, but I would definitely recommend it. I am actually growing a grape tomato this season, but these were amazing last season. I think I just did not get to the pest in time, but I would definitely recommend these. They have an amazing flavor. And then we have our blue or dazzling blue kale, which is one of my favorite kale varieties that I have tried. It grows really well. It's super cold and heat tolerance, and then it just does really well. So that one. And then for our last one is zinnias. So we have a polar bear zinnia, which is a beautiful flower. All right, so I'm going to be attempting to grow this season as well, so whoever wins this will be able to follow along and also grow some zinnias. Now to announce the winner of our giveaway, that is Pretty Alice Moon. You have won all 6 seed packets. I will contact you in the comments so we can connect, and I can get your information to send you all of the seed packets that you have won. Congratulations. Alright, so let's hop into my seed starting setup. Okay, so here is my seed starting table, which is probably the first thing I would recommend, that you have a specific place for starting your seeds. Alright, I have in here my seed starting soil, which I make myself instead of buying it at the store because it's just that much cheaper to do so. And you can see it's nice and light and fluffy, perfect for starting seeds in. Lots of perlite in there as well, and then I've gone ahead and broken out what I'm growing today what I'm planting today into 2 separate piles. This is the pile of direct sown seeds. This is everything that really doesn't do well when transplanted. I'm planting out like hundreds of beans, so of course I'm not going to do those in pots. Most of my salad greens, with a few exceptions, and then radishes, stuff that doesn't really like to be transplanted. So that is my direct sow pile. And then over here in my transplant pile, this is things that I am starting in these little containers, in my seed trays, anything that I'm starting on my seed starting table and not direct sowing into the garden. And really, because things like this do much better when you can control the environment a little bit more. We have a lot of cutworms in here, which is why I am actually starting some of my salad greens in these little transplant cells, right? My Swiss chard, my kale, I'm going to go ahead and start these in some little cups like this, because in the past these have been like just chopped off by cutworms. So I'm going to try to prevent that by getting them a little bit bigger before I put them in the garden. Now you guys know I love mapping out my garden. Usually I do this on the computer, but I was away from my computer and I went ahead and drew out a little map of my garden. This is my U-shaped garden. As you can see, that just mimics these little containers, or this large container here, and then the 2 containers on the end. And I went ahead and drew everything. I do practice square foot gardening, so I went ahead and divided everything up into individual square feet, which is really not proportionate here. But then I went ahead and I put in the things I'm growing, and then just made notes like this is two broccoli, and then one Roma tomato in each of these. And I tried to space them out a little bit so that, you know, everything's not growing. Like I have some Romas over here and some Romas over here, and I do that so everything's not growing in one spot. So for example, if these Romas get infested with pest, these Romas over here might not be. So I'll still get some. And then here is the list of stuff that I'm actually transplanting, right? So this is like that pile, all right? So I have calculated out how many square feet, how many plants I need per square foot, that sort of thing. And then I've made the list here, and then I will actually add on to this list, like I will increase the number. So instead of 9 butternut squash, it'll probably be like 12, just because I plant out some extra in case some of the seedlings fail and don't survive. And then I actually do plant out some also, usually some beans and some tomatoes for selling around the neighborhood also. Those seem to do really well. Alright, so the first thing that I'm going to do is start filling my seed trays and my containers. I usually use these ones, right, like these cells, for the bigger things, just because with these ones I find that it's a little bit more of a pain to like get them out of the actual containers. They don't have like a little push thing here, and these are just ones that I've had for years because I don't want to buy things I don't need. So I just recycle all of my seed containers and my seed trays. I'm going to go ahead and fill them up mostly to the top because these ones are going to be for my butternut squash. Normally, like with my smaller ones like this, I will fill them up like, I don't know, 2/3 almost all the way, and then I'll put my seeds and then plant, or and then put like more on top of it, as you'll see. But with these ones, since the seeds are a little bit larger, I do them all the way to the top and then just poke holes in them, and then put the holes, or put the seeds all the way in. So that will be for my butternut squash. And then I am going to fill up a whole bunch of these. I'm not really going to measure them out, just do mostly full, and then this will be for my tomatoes and my salad greens and pretty much everything else. Also, thank you guys so much for entering my giveaways when I do them. I'm going to try to do giveaways every season when I start my seeds, when I share with you guys what I'm growing. I'd really like to do the same thing, and just be able to give you guys some of the seeds that I would recommend, things that I've enjoyed growing in the past, because that's always fun. And then if you didn't win today's giveaway, then you can still go on and get some free resources on my website on Mini Urban Farm. I will leave the link in the description below, but I have an entire free gardening resource library. It has a whole bunch of different gardening resources, like a budget tracker, what to grow when, things like that. So just free stuff that will help you grow more food and become a better gardener and all of that stuff. I will leave that below, so don't forget to check that out also. Alright, so I have all of my little cups to start off with. These are just what I'm, like I said, starting off with, so I'll probably add more. I do have tons more of those down below, as well as more seed starting soil that I can add in here. So I'm going to go ahead and take all my seeds and share with you guys exactly how I start them. Alright, so first up is my Swiss chard, and I'm going to show you how I plant out salad greens, how I'm going to do it now that I'm not direct sowing them in the garden. If you were direct sowing them, you would just kind of take them and sprinkle them around. But what I'm going to do here is I am going to take my planting map, and if you can get a little close to that, maybe get this to focus. Here we go. So I have salad greens in all of these containers, all right, and all of these individual square feet. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 salad green spaces, all right, 2 of which belong to our Swiss chard here. So in each one of these square feet, I can fit about 4 Swiss chard plants, which is what I'm going for, all right? So 4, and there's 2 square feet dedicated. So that means 8 Swiss chard plants dedicated to our salad green area, and the same thing for the rest of our salad greens. I have 5 different salad greens I'm growing, and then the ones I'm starting from seed, I'm going to plant out 8 of them to transplant into our 2 square feet each. And normally I would plant out several of them, but if you can see these little like bumpy type seeds here, these are Swiss chard seeds, and these are actually seed pods. So once these open up, there's going to be a few seeds inside each of these, which actually I don't need to plant several of them. I will just in case, but really if you see pods like this, that means that there's a whole bunch of seeds inside them. Alright, so I am doing salad greens instead of Swiss chard. I'm just going to put the label on this because I can tell the difference between my kale and my Swiss chard once I start seeing things pop up. If you can't tell the difference, then definitely label everything, but this will save me one label. Okay, so I have all of my salad greens in here, squished into this little container, and then some on the side here. The reason that I don't water them in right away is because I'm going to top water them, right? I have some room in here to get my watering can thing, so I will top water them in here, and then that will be caught in here, right? This little tray, it does not have any drainage holes, so this will actually collect the water, all right? And if I were to do it out here at my seed starting table like I have in years past, and then try to move the entire container with all the water in it, it doesn't go very well. So I would definitely recommend, if you're going to use a no drainage holes container underneath to catch the water, which is what I always do now, definitely recommend watering it in place. So I will water in place, that will be caught in here, and then from now on out I will monitor to see if they have roots. Then I'm going to go ahead and bottom water. So I'll top water still, but mostly I'm going to bottom water, and that will prevent a lot of issues, and it actually lasts a lot longer. It doesn't dry out the soil as much, right, because you have an entire little container of water here, and it does really well for the humidity levels in my little greenhouse. When I put this little container down here, and you can see I also have my little thermostat to monitor the temperature. Alright, so for my last tomato seeds, I'm going to be using fresh tomatoes that I got from the store. They are basically just grape tomatoes, organic. And so what I'm going to be doing, right, because these are fresh tomatoes, I'm going to just literally take them and plop them open. And I'm going to take out all of that juice and sprinkle that in directly onto the dirt. All of these seeds in here. You could, if you wanted to, just slice the tomato and put it in. I've always done it this way, so that's how I'm going to do it. And then you can put this in your compost pile or whatever you want to do with that. Alright, so that is what the fresh tomato seeds look like in there. And I'm just going to go ahead and cover them up lightly. Alright, you don't want too much soil on top of that because then it's hard for them to germinate. But just a little bit is good. And then put them in the greenhouse and water them in. So now that my seed starting setup is back to normal, I have everything in my mini greenhouse here. I'm gonna go ahead and sow out everything that's left on my list. So that is basically green beans that just went all over the floor, my root crops, which is beets and carrots, radishes, things like that, that do not like to be transplanted, and then the rest of my salad greens. So I direct sow most of my salad greens, or all of my salad greens, every season, but I found that with the kale and the Swiss chard specifically, the cutworms really like them, and they just cut them off at the base. So in order to prevent that, and instead of like putting down crushed eggshells and all the other things that you can do, I seeded them in my little greenhouse here, and then when they get a little bit bigger and the cutworms are going to be less capable of destroying them, then I'll plant them out. The rest of my salad greens here, like my corn salad, my mizuna, things like that, I'm gonna go ahead and direct sow them into the garden, mainly because I don't have that much experience with them, because I've never grown them before, so we'll see how that goes, but they should be fine, fingers crossed. So now that I have everything direct sown, I'm gonna come over here and take my little sprayers, my sprinkler system, my drip system here, and this piece right here, this actually opens up this nozzle. All right, so I'm gonna make sure that this is spraying towards my garden beds, and then open it up all of the way, make sure they're getting lots of water. Sometimes I actually close them off because I don't want it overhead watered. I don't want like established plants overhead watered, and so then I rely on my drip lines here, which have my little drip emitters for established plants. But because these are actually seeds, they're going to need some overhead watering, because if you just put the drip emitters, that's not going to spread everywhere. So I'm going to come over here and take my drip lines off that I have hanging, put them into place, and then turn on my drip system. Alright, so all my seeds are started. All of my seeds are direct sown in my mini greenhouse here. Everything that I am planting out for the season. Generally, I would try to stagger it a little bit, but I am starting a little bit late, so I went ahead and planted out everything. And the weather, I can feel it. It is cooling off. It is starting to feel a little bit more like fall here. So now the only thing to do is close up the zippers on my greenhouse here, to give them a little bit of a boost in humidity and wait for my seeds to germinate. I will keep you guys updated. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.